In today's tutorial, we will be diving into the world of dynamic drop-down list in Excel. This is an essential skill for anyone working with data and spreadsheet, as it allows you to create interactive and user-friendly forms and data validation. So let's get started. So first, open the Microsoft Excel and create a new worksheet where you want to set up your dynamic drop-down list. And here I already prepared the data and with the customer name, and here with the customer name I want to use here and make the dynamic drop-down list according to the customer list. So next, prepare your data and make sure you have a list of like the categories or options that you want to use in your drop-down list. Now select the data and you want to use in your drop-down list. So this is the list of option that user will be able to choose from. Then go to the formulas tab and choose the name manager in there, and from there you can use here, and this will make it easier to reference our data when creating the dynamic drop-down list. So in the name manager you can click over the new in there and you can give you the name there, and if I say this will be the like data or like the name data, I can just say this one. So here we got the name data and refers to we selected this range and hit on the OK, or I can just use this will be the like something underscore, or I can say the name this one, then hit on the OK. So now we have this one, then close it. Now select the cell where you want to create your drop-down list. This is where user will be able to select option from the dynamic drop-down list. Okay, if I select in here the range and now go to the data tab and there use the data tools group, and from there select the data validation in there, and in the data validations we will use the data validation and form. Under the setting in there you can find it say the list in there from the allows drop down list. Click over here. Now in the source box reference the name range you create earlier, so I created the name in there, then this will link to the drop down list to your data. Okay, click on the OK and test your dynamic drop down list. If I select here, click over here, and before that I want to do it again, and let me check in, and I will use here, and just first I am gonna to clear all the list from here, clear all the, hit on the OK, or I can select this range and make it from here again. I will clear all from here. Now let's go back again and go to the formula and change name, and here we have this one, then we call this was the name, then we'll go to again and select this one and go to the data validation and use here data validation and use the list, and here will use the equal, then right here the name I use, then hit on the OK. Now when I click over, now you can see gives you the dynamic drop down list in your selected range by selecting, and it can be given you the name list in the one by one, and you can easily select and it can be fill up in your customer range in there. So and there you have it, dynamic drop down list in Excel. This is a powerful tool for creating interesting and user-friendly spreadsheet. Thank you for watching. In today's tutorial, we are going to learn how to create dependent drop-down list in Excel. This technique is incredibly useful for managing and organizing data in your spreadsheet. Whether you are checking inventory managing project or just want to keep your data clean and organized, dependent drop-down list can be a game changer. Okay, so let's start by organizing our data in Excel. It's essential to have your data structured properly. Before creating drop-down list, we will use a simple example of tracking with the country's name and with the like in the different state name. So first we are gonna use here the country name as a drop-down list. Then after all, we will use here and make a dependent drop-down list as with the country wise. So when I click over the USA, so it will come up the state name, this one, or city name. And if I use or select the Canada, it will come up the city's name. Okay, so let's start use and create the dependent drop-down list. First we will use and make a drop-down list. So select where you want to use the drop-down list, and I want to use here the drop-down list. Then go to the data tab, and under the data tab, data tools group, select the validation, click over here and select the data validation in there. Now let's move into make an as a drop-down list. So here I will use the validation criteria. From there, choose the list in there. Then the next step is we need to select the source. So I can just select the source here. We have the country's name in there, and like the USA, Canada, and UK, and here the same one. Then hit on the OK. So here we have the drop down list in here, like the USA or Canada in there. Now let's move into create a dependent drop down list according to the country wise name. So first thing, we will make it as a file name. So first select the range and go to the formula, and from there create from selections. Click over there, and here we will use the create names from values in. We want to use the top row as a header. So I will select this one, then hit on the OK. So here we have now the name. Now you can check it by using the name manager. Click over here. Now you can see it under the Canada. You can see there is the range of the the F4 to the F9 in there. We will make here as the drop down list. So go to the data tab, and from there use again the data validation and click over the data validation. Now we will make it as a list, and instead of the source writing selecting there, we will use the indirect functions. So right here the indirect and use the range. Okay, so I want to select this range, then close it, then hit on the OK. Now it is as a drop down list when I click over like the USA, and now we can see it has only the US city's name in there. Okay, now if I change here into the Canada, and you can see it has now the Canada city's name in our drop down list. Okay, so by using the indirect function and also the drop down list and also the name range from the formula create a name manager, you can easily make the drop down list. Okay, so congratulations, you have now learned how to create dependent drop-down list in Excel, making your data management and organization are busy. You can apply this technique to various scenarios, from simple list like our to more complex and data structures. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next tutorial.